Today alone, when you woke up, you felt tired and irritated that you had to get up so early. On your drive to work or school, you felt mildly guilty as you sipped your full-fat extra sugar large mocha. When you arrived, you felt happy as you talked with your friends and got those strange butterflies when your crush smiled at you. We go through every day constantly flooded with emotions, both good and bad. But have you ever really stopped to think about them? Isn't it odd why a piece of chocolate makes us happy, or how a few words can feel like a punch in the gut? All of these feelings are driven not by our own will, but instead are enacted by, you guessed it, science. That's exactly why this video was made, to examine the way chemistry, biology, and psychology work together to make the science of human emotion. Each of us has 5 primary emotions: anger, fear, sadness, disgust, and pleasure. Every other emotion that we can name is just a combination of these. For example, excitement is a combination of fear and pleasure. We feel these emotions countless times each day, but rarely do we stop and question why we are feeling this way. Humans react to many types of basic stimuli in very primal ways. The 6 basic reaction types are consumatory, sexual, reproductive, defensive, approach, avoid, or fight or flight. Our emotions are highly dependent on our habitats and surroundings. The things in our surroundings which prompt an emotional reaction are referred to as relevant stimuli. Without even realizing it, we often attach emotions to our experiences. One good example of this is a child that is fearful of dogs after he or she was bitten as a toddler, while a child who has more positive experiences with dogs exhibits no such fear. Interestingly, our emotional balance can be changed after more experiences. Going back to the previous example, the child not fearful of dogs is bitten and now emotionally reacts to dogs in a fearful manner. This process of assigning new emotional balance happens frequently. Can you think of a time when this has happened in your own life? While our surroundings do impact us immensely, recent studies have shown that some of our emotional balance may be hereditary, built into our DNA. This theory is called genetic predisposition. You may have heard of this idea when referring to patients being more or less likely to contract diseases like cancer or Alzheimer's due to family history. The principle is the same, but in this case, an emotional balance is being passed on rather than a disease. This is still a relatively new type of study that has arisen between neurology, genetics, and psychology. Now that it has been established that we associate emotions with various stimuli, it is time to learn why humans feel emotions in the first place. First and foremost, you must become familiar with some of the brain's anatomy, namely the limbic system. The limbic system includes the hypothalamus, the amygdala, and the hippocampus. It also provides the meeting point between the cortex and the brainstem. The limbic system, particularly the amygdala, regulates many chemicals within the brain that help us to feel. These systems are called the ascending monoamine systems. 3 of the most important chemicals of these systems are serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. All 3 of these systems must be in balance in order to achieve proper emotional balance. Serotonin is a chemical shown by the chemical equation C8H12N2O. It is responsible for helping to regulate feelings like mood, appetite, sex drive, and memory. In the past decade, studies have shown that low levels of serotonin may indicate depression. Dopamine, also known by C8H11NO2, like its cousin oxytocin, the pleasure chemical, is known as a reward chemical. This means that it makes you feel happy and at ease. Dopamine is the reason you feel good after playing with your dog, going to a yoga class, or winning a competition. Norepinephrine, or C8H11NO3, is known as the stress hormone. It is known to cause emotional stress reactions to stimuli that may be scary or overwhelming. Next time you get anxious before a speech or a big game, or the next time you have piles of homework with little time, norepinephrine is to blame. Oddly enough, dopamine and norepinephrine, you may have noticed, are very similar in composition. You could say that only one oxygen separates stress and happiness. The last part of this video focuses on one very unique emotional reaction. Can you guess what it is? 1. While other animals react this way, humans are the only creatures to which they attach emotion. 2. For most humans, it is our very first reaction. Got it yet? There's one more hint. Recent studies have shown that females may react this way 25% more often than males. You guessed it, this uniquely human emotion is crying. So why do humans cry emotionally? Humans cry 3 different kinds of tears. The first 2, basal for lubrication and reflex to flush out irritants, are present in a variety of creatures. However, the third type of tears, the emotional tears, are uniquely human. While the 2 more basic types of tears are composed of mostly water, emotional tears also include a compound known as adrenocorticotropic hormone, also known as ACTH, which is an adrenal hormone. Research has yet to show why exactly this hormone has been found in tears, but it is suspected to be an evolutionary trait for communication with other humans. The purpose of emotional tears themselves is thought to give us an evolutionary advantage. Since tears cloud our vision and essentially deem us defenseless, they are likely meant to signal to other humans that we are in need of help. Tears of this kind are also shown to decrease norepinephrine levels, which is why many people feel better after crying. So, the moral of this story is, emotions are okay, and many of them, like concern or guilt, are what make us uniquely human. But why don't all humans show emotions the same way? And why do some people seem to lack emotions of sympathy and remorse? Well, those questions will be answered in the next 2 videos of this series. Any questions?